Hey, today is Monday, August the 29th, and it's great to see you again. I know it's been a while since I've done a devotion. I apologize, I've taken quite a few vacations this last month. We went to Alaska for a week, and then we went down to Florida for a week. It's always great to see different parts of the country and to just kind of get away, to unwind, to refresh, but it's great to be back. Well, last month, my family and I took a cruise to Alaska, and it was just an amazing time to be someplace in July that you need a coat, to see just a different part of the world, to see wildlife and sea otters, and it was just a great time. But on the flight out west, we flew from Kansas City to Seattle. I had a window seat, and I spent a lot of it kind of just looking out at the countryside. And I noticed as we got further west, down below, it went from row crops, corn and soybeans. And the further west that you get into Nebraska, you realize you go from row crops very quickly. Around Grand Island and further west, you have more and more pasture land. And I noticed that, out west, it's really dry. I know it's dry here, but, western Nebraska and the western United States, boy, there's a lot of drought. And I was looking below, and it looked brown, and, I couldn't imagine that there was a whole lot of good pasture land for the cattle to graze on. But every once in a while, as I was looking down at the landscape below, I would notice these little perfect green circles. And they were rare, but you would see them from time to time, and you'd see them space out, and sometimes they'd be clumped together. Sometimes there'd be just one circle. And it took me a little bit of time to figure out, what was causing those green circles. And then I realized, that green that I saw below was because of pivots, that there must have been a pivot that went in a perfect circle, providing water to, if it was pasture ground, maybe it was crops or whatever it was. That green circle was green because of the pivot, because of the water, because of the moisture that one spot was receiving. And I was looking around, and it was stark to see something so green surrounded by nothing but a lot of brown. It made me think about, there's this place in the Bible, it's the beginning of Psalm. It's Psalm 1, and it speaks about how when our lives are grounded in God's word, when our lives are grounded in the truth that is God and Jesus Christ, the truth that is our faith, then we can withstand, we can weather those dry moments of life. Now, back in biblical times, they didn't have those great big pivots that could go in circles, and you could just turn it on and water your crops. But people back in biblical times realized that trees planted next to rivers tended to do much better than trees out in the open terrain. And so Psalm lifts up, I think, just this wonderful thought that when we ground our lives in God, it's like we're a tree planted next to a river. So I want to read you kind of a focused Bible passage for today. It's from Psalm 1, beginning in verse 1. So Psalm 1:1 says, "Happy are those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or take the path that sinners tread, or sit in the seat of scoffers. But their delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law they meditate day and night. They are like trees planted by streams of water, which yield their fruit, excuse me, which yield their fruit in its season, and their leaves do not wither, and all that they do, they prosper." Now, I love this. Doesn't matter when your life is better when it's grounded in God's word. Your life is better when it's connected to a church. Your life is better when you strive to follow in Jesus' footsteps. And you might be at a time in your life that you don't really feel like you need God. Everything might be going well. Your job might be well. Maybe your family's healthy and happy, and you might not think, I don't really need God at this moment in my life. But here's the truth. Life is filled with good times when everything seems to be going well, but life is also filled with hardships. Life is filled with death. Life is filled with conflict. And it's in those moments that I would call the dry moments in life, when things just does not seem to be going well, that when you're connected with God, when you're connected with your faith, you are like that tree planted next to a river, and you can withstand anything and everything that life throws your way. I'm so very glad that you've joined me again for this devotion. I hope to restart kind of a weekly routine of speaking to you, of providing this devotion. So hope to see you back next Monday. Also, if you're looking for a place to worship, we here at Redeemer, we've got Sunday school going once again. We worship on Sunday mornings at 9, and then we have Sunday school available for kids aged 3 all the way up to adults. And so we've got a lot of great things going on here at Redeemer. But God bless. Great to see you. Hope to see you again next Monday morning.